This is KARE 11, Minnesota's NBC station.
It was horrible.
Our surf commercial. Kevin comes home from college with disgusting laundry. P.U. Look out. Boo. There goes the neighborhood.
Hey, boy.
Newton's out. So's Kevin.
Well, that's okay on dirt, but only new system surf gets out top odors, too.
Before surf.
Yuck.
And after.
Yes.
For really bad dirt and odors, use new system surf.
Aliens force Picard to play a deadly game of survival on Star Trek The Next Generation.
Saturday at 6 on KARE 11.
At Montgomery Ward, save even more with holiday bonus dollars. Save $10 to $100 even on sale prices on all electronics, all appliances, all furniture, and all fine jewelry. Save $10 to $100 on the hottest brand names, Sunday through Thursday only with holiday bonus dollars. Plus, Sunday through Tuesday, save an extra 10%, even on sale prices on apparel and home furnishings. Put more under your tree for less at Montgomery Ward right now.
Here are tonight's Gopher 5 numbers. We'll repeat these numbers in a few minutes on KARE 11 News at 10. From your 24-hour news station, this is Paul Majors, Diana Pierce, Jeff Passolt, and meteorologist Paul Douglas. And this is KARE 11 News at 10.
Good evening. Paul has the night off. There are new developments in the controversial Northwest maintenance base deal. The air carrier today launched a media campaign to increase taxpayer support, but it was grounded by local television stations. It's just one of the stories making headlines tonight. In a moment, we'll tell you about a St. Paul man who's recovering from a gunshot wound he received while driving on Interstate 94 last night. Also, Senator Ted Kennedy testifies in his nephew William Kennedy Smith's trial. We'll tell you what he said. And a Twin Cities television news icon anchors his final broadcast. But first, we begin with today's developments in the Northwest maintenance base deal. Northwest is trying to increase public support by launching a media campaign. But the brakes were put on the effort before it even got off the ground. KARE 11's Rick Kupchella is in the newsroom now with more. Rick?
Well, Di, we are just over 1 week away from this state's commitment to or rejection of a financing package for Northwest Airlines that would bring 1,500 new jobs to this state and more than $750 million in liability to the taxpayers of Minnesota. The public hearings on the issue are over. 18 legislators will decide the fate 1 week from Monday. In these last days before that vote, the players, those for and against the airline, are playing for influence. The play for public opinion began Thanksgiving Day with ads in the Star and Tribune and the Pioneer Press attacking the proposal and the airline itself. The wolf in these now famous ads is supposed to be the airline's co-chairman, Al Checkey, after the taxpayers' cash. The airline fought back with a dissection, they called it a correction, of the attack ads. They argued it's not a bailout, it's a fully protected loan. Now, the time for the public hearings is over, and these 18 legislators will decide the fate here over the next 10 days. While the public forums may be closed, the phone lines to the Capitol are not. So Northwest wanted to woo you, the taxpayer, with a series of ads running on channels 11, 4, 5, and 9 over the next week. Now, here comes the ad they're pitching. Watch carefully, because you're not likely to see it again on this station or most others.
Northwest Airlines is going to build 2 new aircraft maintenance bases that will create 1,500 new jobs. These new jobs are in addition to the 18,000 jobs presently in Minnesota. New jobs, new facilities, and they're landing right here in Minnesota. But if state legislators decide we don't need 1,500 new jobs here in Minnesota, Northwest Airlines must take them someplace else. Consider the facts, then ask your legislator to vote yes for the Northwest Maintenance Base proposal.
In 30 seconds, they refer to new jobs 4 times, never talking about the cost of those jobs. KARE TV, WCCO, and KMSP have all refused to run them. Channel 5 is the only one that will. KARE President and General Manager Hank Price explains why KARE does not.
I would like to KARE it because it's a significant amount of money, but in order to be consistent with what we've told other people who have had issue advertising, then we can't carry the Northwest spots.
Northwest Airlines is not happy with the decisions. They say they'll work to get the message out in other ways, including radio.
This is really an issue that was a fair and open debate. Whether or not these 1,500 new jobs and these maintenance bases should be located here. That's a fair debate, one we're willing to discuss in any pretense, inside and outside the company. But when somebody says Northwest is about to go bankrupt, when somebody says that there's a wolf at your door to the taxpayers, we're not going to stand for that. We're just not going to stand for scurrilous attacks.
Again, two issues here. One, dealing with the attack which Northwest Airlines says has been launched against them. The other issue is their effort to persuade legislators on an issue for which there will be no public vote. Di?
Rick, what about those who ran the wolf ad? Will they be trying any more ads before the end of the campaign?
According to you mean the attack ads?
Yes.
that came out earlier?
Yes, those against the loan.
They have gone on record today saying they will not, they basically are out of money. I think they've spent about 50 grand already, and they do not intend to run any more ads. They say their job is done just making this an issue to debate.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. Mm-hmm. Senator Edward Kennedy says he never heard anyone screaming on the night a woman says his nephew raped her. And that story tops Datelines. Ted Kennedy testified today as a witness for the prosecution in the trial of his nephew, William Kennedy Smith. Smith's accusers say she screamed for help during the alleged attack. Kennedy was asked today whether he ever heard screams.
Did you hear anything at all that night at the Kennedy estate?
No, I did not.
Did you hear any screams?
No, I did not.
In Wiesbaden, Germany, former hostage Terry Anderson and his sister Peggy Say talked to reporters. Anderson says he doesn't hate his captors, but he says what they did is very wrong. He says he's a Catholic, he's required to forgive them. Tonight, Peggy Say plans to throw a champagne celebration for her brother. In Norristown, Pennsylvania, a hero's homecoming for former hostage Joseph Sicipio. Hundreds of neighbors and well-wishers gathered on his brother's lawn to officially welcome Joseph Sicipio home. Temperature was about 38 degrees. Sicipio wore special gloves designed for victims of severe frostbite. He suffered frostbite during his captivity. We've heard about shootings on the highways of Los Angeles, but not in the Twin Cities, at least until now. A St. Paul area man was shot in the back while driving home on I-94 last night. Ed Wakefield says another car pulled up suddenly behind him, and when he let it pass, a passenger in the car made an obscene gesture. Then as Wakefield was exiting onto 280, he says someone in the other car fired a gun at him. The bullet entered behind his shoulder and lodged next to his spine. It was removed at St. Joseph's Hospital last night, and today Ed went home. St. Paul police are investigating. A shooting at the Riverside Medical Center has a 37-year-old woman behind bars tonight. Police say the woman had a pistol in her purse when she was taken into custody. According to police, the shooting was the result of a domestic dispute between the woman and a fellow cafeteria worker at the hospital. Police say when the woman showed up for work, she fired a shot at 35-year-old Joe Edwards. At the time, there were about 5 people eating in the cafeteria.
Kind of walked around around the corner there, and then all of a sudden I heard the gunshot. And I don't know, everybody got up and ran off.
Edwards was shot in the back. He's listed in good condition tonight at Riverside Medical Center. After spending nearly a month and a half in North Memorial Hospital, 14-year-old Richard Waters Jr. has returned home tonight. Richard and his father say 3 men attacked them during the Halloween blizzard. The teenager was beaten with a baseball bat. For a time, he hovered in a coma, but now he has recovered enough to go home. He'll undergo speech and occupational therapy. Minneapolis police have not charged anyone in connection with the beating. A teachers' strike that closed classrooms in Rochester this week will enter its 4th day tomorrow. Today, striking teachers took their picket line to the mayor's office. Also, school officials proposed arbitration to settle the dispute. However, teachers say they're reluctant to go to arbitration. They say they plan to keep reviewing their options. Rarely do we note programming changes for the competition, but tonight it's unavoidable. After 41 years on the job, WCCO's Dave Moore signed off the 6 o'clock news for the last time. KARE 11's Dave Wildermuth looks at Moore's TV tenure from start to finish.
Democrats claim. At the end of the 6 o'clock news, it wasn't good night. Dave Moore said goodbye.
A simple but a very heartfelt thank you to all of you for your support down through the years. I've been really touched by it.
On the air and in living rooms for more than 4 decades, he will be missed.
I think when somebody goes into somebody's house for 35 years, that
that they would. I'd like to. If they don't miss me, I'll have been a dismal failure.
Moore came to CCO in July 1950. He started his familiar desk job 7 years later. News awards for documentaries followed, but a journalist Dave Moore never claimed to be.
Saying, "Oh, for the life of a bear, I don't much mind if it rains or snows, because I've got a lot of honey on my nice new nose."
In the 60s, Moore started the Bedtime News, a local forerunner to Saturday Night Live. It was delightful.
Good evening. I'm Dave Moore.
Hi, Al Austin Moore here.
And we're not related.
Buy what? Buy the 3 free sheets. Well, if the 3 free sheets are free, why do you have to buy them? Don't buy them.
The years have gone quickly for this reporter.
In management's quest for younger viewers, Moore was nudged off the news at 10. That was 1985. Leaving tonight wasn't the 67-year-old's idea either.
That's their decision. I don't like it, but you know, we can't agree with everything.
What most can agree on is that Dave Moore is one of a kind, like an old comfortable couch. Its time may be up, but it doesn't mean you have to like seeing it go.
Oh, I didn't bring the book. Wir Turtles.
Well, that's not quite all, folks. Moore is quick to note he isn't retiring. Beginning in January, he'll host a magazine show Sunday mornings. You want to keep your overshoes handy. We're in for a lot of slush. Paul Douglas will have details of a weekend meltdown. And before we go tonight, the final frontier for the original Star Trek cast opens in the Twin Cities. In sports, the Battle of the Burnsies. Yes, it was a Jerry Burns look-alike contest. We'll show you the winner. But next in the Extra, Minnesotans remember Pearl Harbor 50 years later. We'll be right back.
Set a festive holiday table with floating ginger and spice tumblers from Target in 2 sizes, $2.99 and $3.99. And nothing says home for the holidays like a ginger and spice gingerbread house. Complete kit just $9.99 at Target.
It's the season with ginger and spice.
Now, sharing the spirit of Christmas is as easy as giving the Christmas Classic series from Family Home Entertainment.
I got Rudolph!
Videos that bring to life all those magical tales and Christmas carols, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and The Little Drummer Boy, stories you've always treasured. And now, so will they, the Christmas Classic series. Start your collection now and bring a Christmas tradition home for keeps.
This is beautiful.
How much? Pulsar?
Pulsar.
Pulsar por este.
I think he wants your watch.
But honey, you gave me this watch.
Money. How much money?
Pulsar también?
Sí, Pulsar.
Pulsar por esta.
What, is he kidding?
No.
Some things in life are worth far more than they cost.
No thank you.
Pulsar. There's no time like it.
Nice job.
What's up? The talking elephants our sales force left with yesterday?
Yeah, there's been a little problem. Do we have any that speak elephant? So who's going to get them to all of our salesmen?
One company offers 1030 delivery to more places than anyone and treats them all with mammoth importance.
Presenting Hugo, the talking elephant.
Federal Express, our most important package is yours.
In just a couple of hours, it will be December 7th, the 50th anniversary of the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor that brought the United States into World War II. More than 2,400 men and women died during the morning attack, and 18 warships of the Pacific Fleet were crippled or sunk. One of those ships holds a special place in naval history, the USS Arizona. KARE 11's Alan Costantini introduces us to a Minnesotan who was one of the few crewmen to escape death on the old battleship.
I went back to turn the water on. The ship blew up. Then we got hit in
Ford magazines. Well, they claim the stack, but I know it was Potter magazines.
Ed Wensloff knows because he was a 24-year-old sailor standing on the deck of the USS Arizona when it happened. It was the single greatest loss of life on any ship in U.S. naval history. More than 1,100 men died when a bomb from an attacking plane dropped into the Arizona's own gunpowder and weapons storage area.
Well, the ship seemed like raised out of the water and just kind of gradually settled down, and there was fire and smoke and, of course, terrific noise.
It was a noise heard far beyond Pearl Harbor and long after December 7, 1941. Of the many Minnesotans on the old battleship, only a handful were alive in 1991. One of them, Guy Flanagan of Roseville, died just 3 weeks ago. Trapped with his men below decks after the explosion, 23-year-old Ensign Flanagan broke his wristwatch tapping SOS on a bulkhead and praying out loud as water and smoke rose in the space until someone heard and opened a hatch from above. Ed Wensloff saw Flanagan emerge from the burning Arizona in amazement.
How this officer got out of that officer quarters, I'll never know that Flanagan over there, because I think they were dead to the man almost.
Guy Flanagan kept mementos of the Arizona where he helped save fellow survivors, but he seldom talked about the horror he had lived through.
Modest man, very modest man. He would never blow his own horn, you know, and I always felt he had every right to.
Ed Wensloff has also kept a low profile about his experience at Pearl Harbor. Few in tiny Butterfield in southwest Minnesota are aware of the wartime record of the former farmer who served as mayor for 4 years. At 74, he still has a sailor's gait and the energy of a man years younger. His memories of that tragedy 5 decades ago are vivid and personal.
We went on the California, which was sinking. And I think we hauled dead out of there for about 3 or 4 hours. Burning flesh is a sweet, sickiest odor. It just permeates the air. It almost makes you retch, you know, and that was prevalent all the time for about 2 days over there. And then periodically, while I was on Fort Island there, we'd find a foot or a hand, and, you know, it was really something out of this world, you know, and I don't know, it's kind of hard to comprehend.
Ed admits that he was in a daze for weeks afterwards, wondering why he had survived when so many friends died. He credits hard work with getting him through the war and the post-war. 50 years later, the Arizona still rests on the harbor bottom and still gathers her crew. The dead were never removed, and the remains of 8 survivors have been added since. Guy Flanagan will be the 9th. It was his wish to have his ashes placed back aboard the ship. Ed Wensloff will return Saturday morning to the spot he stood 50 years ago, above the decks at his battle station, this time on the memorial that straddles the Arizona but does not touch it. It's not a moment he looks forward to. The men below are more than names engraved in marble to him. They were people he knew.
It's kind of a sad feeling for me, because a lot of these people I was with for, you know, 3 or 4 years, very close friends, and, you know, it's kind of hard to, you don't acquire friends, good friends, real easy, you know.
The average age of sailors who died on the USS Arizona was 19 years old. Alan Costantini, KARE 11 News.
Tomorrow night, Alan wraps up his series of reports as we hear how Pearl Harbor survivors feel about Japan and what that means for us in 1991.
Tools make great gifts, and Menards has them at holiday savings. Black & Decker is the name to know for all the do-it-yourselfers on your list this year. The Black & Decker Air Station is now just $46.99. And these quality Cooper tools will come in handy for all kinds of projects. This 25-foot Lufkin tape measure is now just $7.99. You'll find gifts for the do-it-yourselfer at Menards.
Warm season's greetings to you all from Menards.
Come, see what's growing in the garden. What's chopping, what's baking, what's popping, what's shaking, what's savory, what's saucy, what's squiggly, what's sweet, what's twirling and whirling, what's wooing and eyeing. Come, see for yourself at the Olive Garden Italian restaurant, where all the best of Italy is yours.
now open in Burnsville, Roseville, and Maplewood.
It's the all-on-sale holiday sale at Montgomery Ward. Friday and Saturday only. Plus, save an extra 10% even on sale prices. Shop early for an extra 10% off all apparel, all fine jewelry. Get an extra 10% off all day on all electronics, all appliances, and all furniture. Plus 0% interest and a free Rudolph audio tape to the first 200 shoppers. Put more under the tree for less at Montgomery Ward. Right now!
Sure, my darling husband delivers millions of gifts to boys and girls around the world. But guess who gets stuck wrapping them all?
For all your holiday supplies, the place to save is Paper Warehouse. Like red and green table covers and skirting in all shapes and sizes at low warehouse prices. 35-count light sets are 3 for $5. And don't miss our Paper Warehouse puppy offer. Paper Warehouse, your complete holiday supply store.
You are watching KARE 11 News at 10.
Paul Douglas is already out in the backyard. He has news of a weekend warm-up.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that, too. It's been a rough evening for me, Diana.
You've had your feet up on the desk and you've kind of been twiddling your thumbs.
No. I got one of those little front-wheel drive vehicles.
Oh,
Took a corner a little too fast, wound up in a ditch, stuck beyond belief. And thanks to Bill Pop from LDB, he got in his big Suburban, his big six-wheel drive Suburban, got the tow cable, yanked me right out.
Really?
Yeah.
What a guy.
He is.
That's terrific.
Thank you, Bill. I owe you. All right. Being serenaded by the noises of dripping water out here. It's kind of slushy. 36 degrees has never felt better. All right, here's the travel outlook. If you're heading out tomorrow, no big problems, especially if you're going to be going by chopper. A nicer, brighter, drier, milder day, kinder and gentler. Lighter winds, west at 6 to 12. Stock up on windshield washer solution. Wet roads likely. It's really goopy out there right now. Otherwise, you won't be able to see out your windshield. Could be some fog tomorrow night. Sunday, a little messier. A chance of a little rain or freezing rain in the morning. Maybe some accumulating wet snow Sunday night into Monday. High still in the mid-30s, meaning most roads just wet. Still heaps and piles of snow out there, 20 inches plus, northern metro, 16 to 20 along the North Shore, less than 4 to 6 over much of western Minnesota. This stuff isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Here's our Weather Spy photo tonight. Kind of a pretty one. This was taken out of the Badlands by Lee Hazard of Minneapolis. Lee is 11 years old. I think those are mammatus clouds. 36 the high today, a low -3. In the backyard right this moment, it's feeling pretty good. 36, partly cloudy, southwest winds at 12. No wind chill, not even a hint. Dew point 30, humidity 79, barometer falling. You can see the next Alberta clipper that just grazed us with clouds and flurries today. Farther north, about 2 to 4 inches of flurries up towards Duluth and the Iron Range. Our next weather maker approaching from the Pacific. And as it approaches, there may be enough warm air aloft for some rain, liquid rain on Sunday. Doesn't look like much. And long about Monday, I think it'll be cooling off aloft and any rain will change over to snow. Check out what's happening right now. Quite a bit of fog. St. Cloud, Brainerd on north. 12 degrees, International Falls and War Road. The flurries tapering off over extreme northern Minnesota. Looks like the pipe rupturing, battery draining air is now retreating northward. It's going to remain bottled up in Canada right through next week, thanks to a prevailing wind blowing from west to east, a zonal flow. This disturbance is going to pass off just to our north later on tonight. We'll be in the warm sector tomorrow, west to southwest winds. Temperatures near 40 possible tomorrow, especially southwestern Minnesota. This storm could arrive with a few inches of slop by Monday. Forecast is up next.
Winter's here. You can feel it in the air.
Honey, go to sleep.
Oh, I can't sleep. How can you sleep knowing it's coming back again?
I can't. I was pretending, you know.
Hey, I'm just guessing, but I think it's going to be bigger than ever this time.
I think you're right.
I don't want to miss it.
Oh, don't worry. I set the old alarm.
What time?
7 a.m.
Hey, you think it's going to be big this time?
Oh, humongous.
Oh, hey, what's that? Oh, we were here first. You wait your turn in line.
Don't miss it.
It's big.
So many families now love Quaker Oat squares. Think how a flake feels. You okay?
I'm so flat and frail, not square like you.
Quaker Oat squares are more than just square. We're toasted whole grain oats sprinkled with brown sugar.
You're sprinkled. I'm wrinkled.
And Quaker Oat squares stay crunchy in milk. Come on in.
Can't. Once milk touches me, I'm a soggy sight.
I'll try not to splash.
Quaker Oat Squares. You'll love them.
From Square One.
Just announced, up to $1,500 cash back on Ford F-Series pickup. That's right, up to $1,500 cash on America's best-selling truck. Start with $500 cash back on every F-Series in stock. Then qualify for an additional rebate up to $1,000 for total cash back of up to $1,500. Plus, with option savings up to $2,100, save up to $3,600 before your best deal. This is a limited time offer. See your local Northland Ford dealer today.
Ethan Allen introduces the American Impressions Collection. Just because you don't have a lot of money to throw around doesn't mean you have to live with disposable furniture. Right now, there's a sale at your Ethan Allen Gallery.
Yeah, the media airwaves littered with recession talk, a lot of gloom and doom. Doesn't change the fact that there are a lot of kids out there counting on your generosity on Christmas morning. Toys for Tots, we're behind. We need your help. Couple of events going on this weekend. Event number 1 going on tomorrow. Bally's U.S. Swim and Fitness 4th Annual Reindeer Run begins at 9:30 at Lake Harriet Bandshell, goes around the lake. All participants encouraged to bring a new unwrapped toy. You can still register tomorrow morning at the Bandshell. Santa Rudolph and the elves will be there. Also tomorrow, Community Toys for Tots at Big Lake Elementary School in Big Lake, Minnesota. Jason Light and band will perform, as will Dawn Elsh. Now, she's the little girl who sang the national anthem at the World Series. There will be community carolers. Admission is 1 toy per family. And Saturday and Sunday, Little Six Bingo benefit for Toys for Tots up at Prior Lake. 7 o'clock both evenings, a bingo game played with all proceeds going to Toys for Tots. Please help out these kids of all ages. You get to play a surrogate Santa. Here's our forecast for tonight. Looks kind of quiet for a change. Partly cloudy and mild, 21 to 26, the winds tapering off. Tomorrow, the nicer day of the weekend, partly sunny, 35 to 40. Could be a little light rain Sunday, mixing with snow Sunday night before tapering off Monday. Could be a few inches, drying out Tuesday. Reasonable temperatures, a high of 34. You know, Di, there's nothing worse than the weather guy getting stuck in a ditch, because I was standing there for about 10, 15 minutes, and people would stop. Hey, you're the weather dude. Hey, looks like you could use 4-wheel drive. And they
drive right on by.
See you, Pa.
Well, that was nice of Bill J. Pop.
That was nice of Bill.
Yeah.
I owe him a few more favors.
Well, it's nice of him.
Sure is.
Yeah.
Good night, Dad.
Thank you. You have a good weekend.
You too.
One of the candidates in the Gophers football coach search may soon come to Minnesota. Jeff Passolt will have the details after this reminder. The deadline in the Toys for Tots drive is fast approaching. You can drop off new unwrapped toys at any of these locations or stop by our KARE 11 studios.
Tonight's KARE 11 weather has been brought to you in part by Med Centers.
MDRNICU-OR-ER-PDQ DPT EKG HR-ETC RVPNC BP ASAP MRI-EEG CXO.
We can't possibly show you all the ways Med Centers can improve your health, but that was an abbreviated list. Med Centers, dedicated to better health.
A 3-amp motor, locking trigger switch, and a built-in chuck key. They're all part of the Master Mechanic single-speed corded drill, available exclusively at True Value hardware stores and home centers. Looking for a gift that's practical and in your price range? Well, what about that Master Mechanic corded drill? In December, it's just $19.99 while supplies last at your local True Value, the neighborhood hardware store with national chain store buying power.
Olympic Team Collection, a triumph of time from Seiko, the official timer of the games of the 25th Olympiad. Seiko, the measure of greatness.
It's not easy to follow in the tracks of a legend. Ask Ford Explorer.
With 190 horses, Jeep Cherokee runs circles around it. Compare fuel economy and warranty. Explorer falls short. Finally, Cherokee has available four-wheel anti-lock brakes. Explorer doesn't. Sorry, Explorer. This probably isn't a good time to bring up price.
Well, the buzz in the sports department tonight, again, Ray Perkins.
Yeah, if you're a coach, boy, it's probably a pretty good time because there's at least a couple openings that we know about out there.
Especially here in town.
Yeah. But this guy, you know, he was with Tampa Bay until he was fired last year, played in the NFL, coached the New York Giants, had a pretty decent career coaching college at Alabama. As we first told you last night, there's at least one big name on the list of coaching candidates for the Gopher football team. KARE 11 Sports has learned Ray Perkins will be interviewed for the job in about 10 days. And Perkins is making it clear he wants the job.
We have made slight contact as far as sending them a resume. I was contacted one time, and as far as my interest in the job, I told them that I was. And so I do expect to be contacted sometime in the near future.
Well, a busy weekend for the Timberwolves. 2 games in 2 nights, hoping to snap a 2-game losing streak tonight in Seattle. Might be too much for the Wolves. Here's how it's going so far. They do have a 4-point lead. They led by 8 at the half. The third quarter just underway. It is 56-52 in the third. Also in the NBA tonight, the hottest team in the league, Chicago hosting Charlotte. Michael Jordan leading the way with 19 points, and the Bulls win their 14th in a row, 114-96. Former Gopher Kevin Lynch scored 12 points for Charlotte, so a pretty good start to his NBA career for the product out of Bloomington Jefferson High School. And the prep schedule kicking off tonight. Fridley giving top-ranked Burnsville all they can handle in girls play. Mary Schuler leading Fridley with 14 points this evening. But Burnsville proving why they are ranked #1 amongst the girls. Amy Snyder scoring inside. And with that bucket, we go to the scoreboard. They win it by 10 over Fridley tonight. Osseo, a 72-57 victory. Bloomington Kennedy wins in overtime. North by 10 over Humboldt. Park Center beats Wayzata by 5. Shakopee a 10-point winner over Lakeville. In boys play, Cretin-Durham Hall, they're ranked #1 in the boys, and they prove it tonight with a win over St. Thomas. Moundsview picking up a victory over Blaine. Breck by 7 over St. Paul Academy. Look at this. Irondale hits the century mark early in the season. Not too bad. 100-76 over Richfield. Northfield a 7-point win over Faribault, and it was Coon Rapids by 2 over Highland Park. The Vikings are going south this weekend to Tampa Bay, hoping their record doesn't do the same. At 6-7, playoff hopes still alive, but barely. The Vikes players facing the pressure of being bumped from the playoffs 2 years in a row, while Coach Jerry Burns won't have to worry about the future being out of the picture at the end of the season. And speaking of Burnsy, well, a perfect segue into our play of the day. The Jerry Burns Look-alike Contest tonight at Alligators in Maple Grove. Tom Bernard of KQRS on hand to MC the Battle of the Burnsies.
I don't know. I've always thought you're kind of a lovable character. Do you think that's a fair assessment? Oh, yeah, I'm very lovable. We're definitely going to go down there and just kind of check it out.
And the winner, Pat Lannon of Hopkins. Pat and his wife get an all-expense-paid trip for 2 to Tampa Bay for Sunday's game, courtesy KQRS Radio. Not too bad. It was a tough contest to judge.
Tough to tell by that shot, too. He's standing in the dark.
It was getting a little dark on us there. But Pat Lannon gets to go down and watch the Bucks take on the Vikings, and we will have our special 6:30 Sunday night right here, and then kickoff, of course, on TV 11 at 7 o'clock, the Vikings and Buccaneers.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. Twin Cities Trekkies flock to see Captain Kirk and his crew take their final Starship Enterprise voyage on the silver screen. The details when we come back.
Oh, Dave, hi.
Hi. Remember those tickets your husband bought?
Yeah, sure.
If this is the only time you've been ticketed by the police recently, you might qualify for a special Farm Bureau auto insurance rate.
Thanks.
Call us for complete details today.
Comrades, apparently the coup has failed.
Yep.
Any suggestions?
We must leave immediately. Ah, how about the very free
NLT vacation.
When the last thing you need is another worry, take an MLT vacation, the one with a satisfaction rating of 99%.
Look what's under your tree. 20% off everything in the store at Famous Footwear. Save 20% on everything you buy at Famous Footwear now.
Run to Burlington Coat Factory for great nylon warm-up suits. Only $39.90. Great styles, terrific price. Only $39.90 and only at Burlington.
Before we go tonight, the final frontier for Captain Kirk and his crew on the Starship Enterprise.
Have you not a shred of decency? We come in peace, and you blatantly defy that peace.
We haven't fired. According to our databanks, we haven't.
Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, opened in theaters across the country and in the Twin Cities today. This is the last movie that will feature the original cast of Star Trek. And as a salute, Twin Cities Trekkies dressed up for the event. Of course, they are having a convention in town tomorrow.
That's right.
That'll do it for us this evening. We hope you have a good weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday. Good night.
Thanks for watching KARE 11 News, the #1 newscast in the Twin Cities. Stay tuned for more news and weather every hour on the hour.